How to get started in real estate. Hi, I'm Scott Piccott, Jiu-Jitsu black belt, entrepreneur, and author of The Unlikely Millionaire. So getting started in real estate, you really need to decide which avenue you want to go down. You could become a real estate agent. If you like sales, that would be a good place for you to get started. Of course, you have to get licensed, you have to study, you have to pass the exam, then you have to join a brokerage. Obviously, you're on a commission-based structure there. The fees need to be paid to your brokerage, and you're only going to get paid when you sell real estate. If you have a buyer or a seller that you're representing upon the sale and the successful close, you will be paid commission. So in some sense, you're sort of self-employed as such, maybe a business owner if you're able to get some people that are starting to work for you and so on, building up all the way to owning your own brokerage. I decided, however, to go the route of real estate investing through owning rental properties, acquiring rental properties. That's what I decided to do. And ultimately turning into a developer and buying apartment buildings and gutting them and rebuilding them, keeping the concrete shell and building luxury condominiums out of them and reselling and then doing ground up projects. However, I do have friends as well that get involved in real estate mortgages. That's also a good avenue to go down if you have a background in finance or a finance degree. You do need to be licensed to be able to sell mortgages. You can work for one of the big banks or a credit union or an independent mortgage broker, in which you're paid a commission upon each deal that you fund. So there's also construction and building, obviously involved in real estate. If you have skilled trades in any respect, you can start in that way as well. Flipping real estate is a great way. If you have some hands-on skills, some other trades, have connections, it could be nice to flip real estate too as an option. So back to how I got involved, I saved up some nest egg. I was a security guard at the Calgary International Airport. I also worked for Air Canada there, which was nice. I was able to save up about $18,500 living as a roommate in somebody else's house in Northwest Calgary. With that, I was able to put a down payment on a modest 4 or 5 bedroom home in a nice community in the deep southwest of Calgary, Mackenzie Lake area. That job I was able to qualify with. I was lucky. I had to really push through with my mortgage broker to get my overtime hours to count towards the qualification of income level that I needed. Credit was good. I had been building that since I was 15, 16, getting a few car loans and getting a visa as soon as I could. Paying everything back on time gave me reasonable credit. Once I got my mortgage approved, I was able to start looking for the home that I wanted to purchase. Now, I wanted to live in the home as a principal residence, but I did want to put roommates in it so I could cover the expenses of the home, everything like property tax, home insurance, the mortgage, of course, even the utilities. And if I was able to fit enough roommates in it, I could probably actually cash flow it. That was my train of thought. So I started looking, and I did find a home that it had 5 bedrooms in it, 3 up, and then a developed basement that had 2 more. So I took one of the bedrooms and put out ads in the newspaper. Back then, this was probably about 2003 or so. And a lot of people came and took a look and talked to me and wanted to rent the bedrooms. So they all filled up and moved into the property successfully after close. And it kicked off a positive cash flow. It worked. I really loved that concept. It was like a little business in my house, investing through real estate, having it cash flowed, actually to the point where I didn't have to work anymore. I could quit my job as a security guard and look for ways to acquire more real estate. Before I quit my job, though, I was smart enough to go to a few chartered Canadian banks and establish unsecured lines of credit because I knew I'd need my down payments from somewhere, even if I was going to really leverage the properties. I would need something down. So that's what I did. Once they were established, I was able to start researching ways, reading books, talking to other investors, going to seminars, learning ways that I could get other properties and mortgages without qualifying traditionally. Through vendor take-back mortgages, which is where the seller finances for me, or assumable mortgages. Those are probably the two biggest ways that I acquired properties after that. A combination of both at times. I found motivated sellers, usually in the newspaper, maybe online, and they would have a recent mortgage on their property, so 95% of it would be financed already, requiring little to no down payment from me to pay them out their equity. Or if it was $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, they'd give me a second mortgage, a vendor take-back mortgage with it. So that way I would be highly leveraged. But all these properties that I found have had a basement suite. So between the main tenants upstairs and the lower suite being rented out, it was enough to cover highly leveraged mortgage, even second mortgage, and produce a cash flow, $500, $600, $700 a month. I went on after that and bought many properties all over Calgary. After that, I started upping the ante and getting into apartment buildings. Bit of a different story there. However, you can definitely get started without experience in any different area of real estate. You do have to study, acquire some knowledge, get a mentor, learn what you can, and get started. The biggest thing is to get started. It can be daunting or intimidating at the beginning, but always taking that first step is key to starting achieving goals in new areas of life that you don't know anything about. And really mastering that technique of becoming comfortable in situations that you're uncomfortable with is a great way to acquire new skills in life, launch new careers, and be comfortable every time you do it. So all the best to you. Wish you the best in your real estate career. If you have any questions, go ahead and send them over. You can get my book in the link below in comments. The new audio book and ebook drop February 1st, 2026. Thanks so much. Please subscribe and like. Bye for now.